Hamas gives positive response to US-led 60-day Gaza ceasefire proposal. According to the Associated Press, Hamas has responded positively to the latest US-led proposal for a 60-day truce in Gaza but stated that further talks are required to finalize the implementation details. The proposal reportedly calls for the release of additional hostages in exchange for a withdrawal of some Israeli troops and an increase in humanitarian aid. The cautious optimism comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to visit the White House on Monday to discuss the deal, which aims to end the nearly 21-month-long war. UN warns Haiti's gangs have near-total control of capital, risking state collapse. According to the Associated Press, senior UN officials have warned that criminal gangs now control an estimated 90% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, and are expanding their reach into previously peaceful areas. The gang's power has grown significantly since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, creating parallel governance structures and paralyzing the economy. The UN warns that without greater international action, the total collapse of state presence in the capital could become a very real scenario, further destabilizing the Caribbean nation. UK restores diplomatic relations with Syria after 14-year rupture. According to The Times, the United Kingdom has formally restored diplomatic ties with Syria, a move marked by British Foreign Secretary David Lammy's visit to Damascus for talks with interim President Ahmad al-Sharaa. The UK has pledged a £94.5 million, $129 million, financial aid package for relief, education, and economic rebuilding. The restoration of ties, which were severed during the country's civil war, follows similar moves by Washington to ease some economic sanctions on Syria's new leadership. Man charged in arson attack on Melbourne synagogue as congregation was inside. According to the Associated Press, Australian police have charged a 34-year-old man with arson and other offences after he allegedly set fire to the front door of the East Melbourne Hebrew Congregation synagogue. About 20 worshippers were inside for a Shabbat meal but evacuated safely and without injury. The incident, which has been condemned by Australian and Israeli leaders as a cowardly act of anti-Semitism, is being investigated for potential terrorism links amid a rise in such attacks in the country. UK government abruptly closes resettlement schemes for Afghan allies. According to The Times, the UK government has suddenly closed two key schemes, the Afghan Relocations and Assistance Policy, ARAP, and the Afghan Citizens Resettlement Scheme, ACRS, to new applicants. These programs were designed to provide sanctuary for Afghans who assisted British forces and other vulnerable groups following the Taliban takeover. The move has sparked anger from advocacy groups, who warn it will leave many at risk and could force more individuals to attempt dangerous, illegal crossings to the UK. U.S. job growth beats expectations in June, unemployment rate falls to 4.1%. According to Reuters, the U.S. labor market showed continued strength as non-farm payrolls increased by 147,000 in June, surpassing economists' forecasts of 110,000. The Labor Department report also showed the unemployment rate fell to 4.1% from 4.2% in May. The robust data suggests the labor market remains stable, though it has reduced market expectations for an imminent interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve, which is monitoring for signs of economic cooling before adjusting policy. U.S. trade deficit surges to $71.5 billion in May as exports decline. According to the Associated Press, the U.S. trade deficit in goods and services widened sharply by 18.7% in May, reaching $71.5 billion. The U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis reported that the increase was driven by an $11.6 billion decrease in exports, while imports saw a marginal decline. The year-to-date deficit has increased by over 50% compared to the same period in 2024, reflecting complex global trade dynamics and shifting demand ahead of potential new tariffs. China's June inflation remains weak, fueling deflation concerns. According to Reuters, China's Consumer Price Index, CPI, rose by only 0.2% year-over-year in June, below market projections and indicating persistent weak domestic demand. The figure, reported by the National Bureau of Statistics, was heavily influenced by a 2.1% drop in food prices. The data intensifies concerns that the world's second-largest economy is facing deflationary pressures, a stark contrast to the inflationary challenges confronting most Western nations. Vietnam's H1 GDP growth hits 7.52%, highest rate in over a decade. According to VietnamNet, Vietnam's economy recorded its strongest mid-year performance since 2011, with GDP growing by 7.52% in the first 6 months of 2025. The General Statistics Office data highlights the nation's success in attracting foreign investment and boosting exports, positioning it as a standout performer in the Asia-Pacific region. This robust growth comes as many global companies pursue a China Plus One strategy to diversify their supply chains. Asia-Pacific supply chains face volatility amid U.S. tariff uncertainty. According to a Maersk market update, logistics networks in the Asia-Pacific region are navigating significant volatility as the August 11 expiry of a U.S. tariff pause on Chinese goods approaches. While container volumes on key export routes remain steady, many shippers are reassessing their third-quarter plans due to the risk of renewed tariffs on electronics and machinery. This uncertainty continues to drive supply chain diversification into Southeast Asian nations like Vietnam and Thailand, though regional bottlenecks persist. European Commission downgrades 2025 EU growth forecast amid trade risks. According to the European Commission, the EU's real GDP growth for 2025 has been revised down to 1.1%, with the euro area forecast at 0.9%. The spring 2025 economic forecast cited heightened uncertainty stemming from abrupt changes in U.S. trade policy and the unpredictability of future tariffs as the primary reason for the downgrade. While the EU economy is expected to see growth accelerate in 2026, the immediate outlook is clouded by weakening global demand and geopolitical tensions. U.S. stocks surged to record highs after strong jobs report. According to Bloomberg, U.S. stock markets rallied on Thursday, with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite closing at fresh record highs for the fourth time in 5 sessions. The S&P 500 gained 0.8% to close at 6,279.35, while the Nasdaq rose 1% to 20,601.10. The surge was fueled by a stronger-than-expected June jobs report, which bolstered investor confidence in the economy's resilience, with technology and solar power stocks among the top performers. Asian markets trade cautiously amid U.S. tariff threats and China data. According to Reuters, Asian stock markets showed a mixed and cautious performance on Thursday, reacting to Wall Street's gains but weighed down by regional concerns. Japan's Nikkei 225 fell nearly 0.8% after President Trump reiterated tariff threats against Tokyo, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index slipped 0.6% following data that showed China's services activity grew at its slowest pace in 9 months. The session highlighted the region's sensitivity to both U.S. trade policy and China's economic health. UK and Singapore strengthen collaboration on digital and sustainable finance. According to the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the 10th UK-Singapore Financial Dialogue concluded with agreements to deepen collaboration on financial innovation. Key areas of focus include asset tokenization through Project Guardian, developing joint initiatives on the use of AI in finance, and aligning approaches to sustainable finance disclosures and carbon markets. The partnership aims to bolster the roles of London and Singapore as leading global financial hubs by fostering interoperability and shared regulatory standards. Global M&A deal value rises in H1 2025 despite lower volume. According to a PwC report, the global mergers and acquisitions market saw a 9% decline in deal volume in the first half of 2025 compared to the previous year, but a 15% increase in total deal value. This trend was driven by a significant rise in the number of megadeals valued at over $1 billion, particularly in the Americas. The data suggests that while broader market uncertainty is delaying some transactions, strategic buyers are still pursuing large, transformative acquisitions. Agribusiness giant Bunge Global completes acquisition of Viterra. According to Investopedia, Bunge Global has finalized its acquisition of grain handling business Viterra, a major consolidation in the global agribusiness sector. Bunge stated the merger is intended to help it compete more effectively against larger rivals amid global market uncertainties driven by tariffs and geopolitics. The deal proceeded despite some concerns about its potential impact on competition in the grain and canola markets. Bunge's shares slipped 3.6% following the announcement. U.S. Senate rejects moratorium on state-level AI regulation. According to the New York Times, the U.S. Senate voted overwhelmingly 99-1 to strike down a proposed 10-year moratorium on states' rights to regulate artificial intelligence. The provision, part of a broader Republican economic package, was a top priority for major tech companies, which had lobbied for a unified federal framework to avoid a complex patchwork of state laws. Its defeat is a significant setback for Silicon Valley and clears the way for states like California to proceed with their own AI oversight rules. UK passes new data law and launches national AI strategy. According to Walker Morris, the UK has passed the Data, Use and Access Bill into law, finalising its post-Brexit data protection framework. Concurrently, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, has launched a new national strategy for AI and biometrics. The strategy aims to ensure lawful deployment of new technologies while supporting innovation. These moves establish a distinct UK regulatory path for technology, separate from those being developed in the US and the European Union. Reuters' main X account withheld in India over legal demand. According to the Times of India, the primary account on the social media platform X for the international news agency Reuters has been withheld in India. A notice on the account states the action was taken in response to a legal demand. However, Indian government officials have reportedly denied issuing a new order and have sought an explanation from X. The incident highlights the growing tensions between global technology platforms and national governments over content moderation and digital sovereignty. AI's rapid growth creates significant societal and environmental challenges. According to a TS2.tech analysis, the state of artificial intelligence in mid-2025 is defined by rapid innovation but also by profound societal and environmental strains. The AI boom is simultaneously displacing workers in routine jobs while creating new professions, exacerbating labor market volatility. Furthermore, the massive energy consumption of data centers required to train and run AI models is raising significant concerns about the technology's carbon footprint and its impact on